Good afternoon, Friday, G Force. G is for gratitude. I am so grateful for today for many reasons. Gratitude is one of the most powerful words we can incorporate in our lives and our attitudes. We've got to be grateful for all things. Gratitude eliminates negativity. Even in our challenges and our struggles, when we go to a place of gratitude, it brings new sense of awareness, new energy, new perspectives, no matter what's going on. Practice gratitude in your life. And today I'm so grateful to introduce Mark Rodriquez. Now, Mark and I have recently met in the last couple months. We were introduced through Mark Gassert and Grow Live Academy, and that's where we met. And when I started seeing Mark, I recognized something. This is a guy I really want to know. I want to hang with. And we've also become business associates here recently as well. So that's where we're at. And I tell you what, who you're going to be seeing today is a person, what I would consider a person of greatness. A person of greatness. And it's because he sent me his picture, and I'm just going to show you this. And you could see what I mean. That is a picture of greatness. So with that all said, I'm bringing in, are you ready? Mark Rodriquez, friend,
Hello.
colleague, and welcome to G-Force.
Listen, I'm hoping I can live up to the introduction there. You, Tom, you rock. I watch your shows. I love the energy that you bring and the message you bring, and I appreciate that introduction. I'm proud to be here. I'm really happy to be here.
I am as well. So what I'd like to do today is just we're just going to free flow a little bit, but I know you tell the audience, where you're from, you start your story, and we'll just go from there.
All right. So my name is Mark Rodriquez, and I was raised in the Bronx, New York, by two amazing parents, George and Benigna Rodriguez. They raised 5 sons. Dad worked 3 jobs. Mom raised us for the most part, and it was not an easy job raising 5 sons in New York. I will tell you, I was not raised with an entrepreneurial mindset. My dad worked. He really, really worked hard, multiple jobs, and I can never, ever remember a day or a night or any time where food wasn't on the table. So I have the utmost respect for that man. This year, though, has been a very, very difficult year for all of us. On top of the pandemic, I ended up losing my dad. He had dementia, a bunch of different afflictions, but it was painful. It was really, really painful to be there during those last months. Mom broke her hip, and I became their caregiver along with my brother and my sister-in-law. It was not easy, but I will tell you that my father instilled in me the work ethic to bust my butt and to make it happen. And when he died, I will tell you, it was not easy. And I just have to give a special shout out to a friend. Her name is Arlene Patrick. For any of you who have lost someone dear in your life, and I lost my dad, she went through some of my Facebook posts, Tom, and she took a picture, that picture I had that I showed you there of my mom and dad, and she created a journal. It's a Start Each Day with a Grateful Heart. So I have turned this journal into an ongoing day-by-day conversation with my dad. And I can't tell you how that has helped to heal that wound, his loss. I would hear, Tom, people say, I lost my mom, lost my dad. And, you have the, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. But until you lose a parent, man, you just don't know the depths to which it hurts. So mom and dad, I love them to death. the thing I'm most proud of, aside from being their son, are my twin daughters, Rebecca and Nicole Rodriguez. They're 29 now, but what you're seeing here is a little collage of some special memories with my girls when they were younger, and they are my why. You know, you hear Tom about, well, what is your when you're going to make a goal, you got to have a compelling reason why, and they have been my reason why, for everything I do. They are top of mind. I am so grateful for them. I'm grateful for you, Tom, because your show is all about gratitude, and I begin the day with gratitude. I have a couple of other slides, but I'm gonna pull back into to kind of talking to you here, and let's see. I'll pull those in maybe later on. In terms of my career, Tom, I started out a salesman in the automotive industry. Not easy, you know. Being a salesperson in the automotive business does not come with an owner's manual. For the most part, most salespeople are not taught how to build and develop and sustain a growing book of just business, or even how to ask for referrals, how to prospect. That's a dying art. When I became a salesman, Tom, I will tell you it was out of necessity. You know, at the age of 9, 10, 15, I never had the conversation with mom and dad. Well, hey, mom, dad, I know you want me to be a doctor, but I want to be a car salesman. I think my mother would have slapped my teeth out of my head, right? If she knew I wanted to be a car salesman. But I that wasn't my vocational life. But it became a necessity when I became a father of my daughters. And it was either it was going to be, or it was either up to me, or was it going to happen? And there was no training. And so, we hear the term network marketing today, and I will tell you, network marketing saved my life. A woman came into the dealership one day, and she invited me to a business opportunity meeting called Amway. I didn't do much with Amway, but the training it exposed me to Wayne Dyer, Tom Hopkins, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Les Brown. I mean, I was hearing these messages that I'd never heard in school. And it helped me to understand the psychology of not just selling, but to understand the gift of creating value. Last night you and I were on a coaching call with the Grow Live Academy, where this way, are you a value creator for others in your life? That's now, I own that now. That's a part of me, right? Because that now is a part of that. That's the premise behind everything I do now. Am I creating value in other people's lives? And so I worked my way through the automotive industry through sales, and became a manager. Things didn't work out because while I was a good salesperson, just because you're a good salesperson, that skill set doesn't transition into becoming a leader or a manager. Leaders are not born, right? They're made. And so there was no owner's manual for being a leader or a sales manager either. And so while I had a strong reason, my daughters, I wanted them to have everything I didn't have. When you're trying to compel and influence other people to be more and do more, man, that's a big responsibility, because you really have to get to the root of what is it that really motivates them. Long story short, Tom, I left that position, and I received a phone call from a gentleman who had a training company, and he asked me to join him. I said, listen, Ken, I don't train. I'm not a trainer. He goes, I'll teach you. And I started training in 2001. And in 2005, God rest his soul, he passed away, and I carried on the business. Auto Client Care started in 2005, and I have been working in the automotive field now for, since 2005 in terms of training. And it's been an amazing experience. I'll show you just I'm also a speaker for the Greater New York Dealer Association. That pre-pandemic, that was a live session every month or every other month, and I was training training business development centers, salespeople, minutes, and it was great. Well, when the pandemic hit, man, we had to do a shift. We had to shift to virtual. So I'm doing virtual training now, as well as some in-store training. We mentioned the Grow Live Academy, and I gotta give a plug to not only Mark Gassert but to Ken Walls as well. I mean, I don't know of any other platform where I could be part of a group of amazing, like-minded people, and to meet people like Glenn Morshower, Jeffrey Gitomer. I mean, literally to be in a Zoom conference with them and just share ideas and learn from them every week. In addition to the hours and hours and hours of training modules on Grow Live. Listen, prior to me getting involved with the Grow Live Academy, I could never do what I'm doing now with this on. I'm not a techie guy, but I learned a lot of skills through that program. Lastly, well, I'll save that. I'll save that for when we get into when I feel that comes up in our conversation. But I'm going to pull back out here, and we'll get back to. There we go. We'll go right there.
I tell you what, Mark, your technology, you're underestimating what you're demonstrating. So, able to put those slides up and zoom in and out. So don't cut yourself short, my friend. Hey, I've got a couple questions for you. Losing a parent, no one knows how another person feels, right? I mean, I've lost my parents, and that's my experience. And a loss is grieving, and grieving. We grieve because we loved, So my wife works in the grief arena, does grief counseling and that type of thing. So we don't know how to deal with grief. And I just want to let you know that my hearts and prayers go to you, because I know that's been a recent event, and here to support you. And I thank you for your authenticity, your vulnerability, and that tells me a lot about your character, who you are. But parents, with your dad, I know you referenced your mom. If you told her that you were going to go in the car business, she would have knocked your teeth out. I thought that was cute.
She would have just been so disappointed because in her mind she wanted me to be a doctor, and it would have been a disappointment for her. But I will say this to you, Tom. The automotive business allowed me to do so many different things. It created opportunities for me that a regular 9-to-5 job wouldn't. And I still believe that being an automotive salesperson, being in the automotive business today, it's still one of the greatest second chances for a lot of people. My feeling, Tom, is when I walk into a dealership, I don't want to leave anybody behind. So when I get to know these people, whether they're salespeople, whether they're managers, doesn't matter. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. And among those stories are the single dads, single moms, raising kids, people who have been in jobs for over 15, 20 years, and now they've been outsized, downsized. And now the question becomes, what do I do now? And unless the voice in their head goes from crickets, right, to not knowing and suffering paralysis to analysis, a lot of these folks, they come into the automotive industry. Why? Because they hear things. They hear that you can make good money. You can make good money selling cars. I would say to you, Tom, a salesperson doesn't sell cars. What he does sell is he transfers that emotion about what that customer wants to gain access to. For some people, it's a small car. For other people, it's a pickup truck. But if you can make it more about them than it could possibly be about you, you'll win, right? Because customers, people in general don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you hear that a lot. It's almost cliche, but it's true. I walk into dealerships today, and for one of the first messages I give is, if selling a car today is as easy as first making a friend and then selling the car. But don't get it twisted, because if I try to sell the car before I build a relationship, it's over. People will sense that. And unfortunately, today with the pandemic, and thankfully we have some vaccines on the way, um, where what used to be a situation where you could walk in, when you meet someone, you can tell by the look in the person's eye, you can tell by their face. Now that mask hides a big part of the body language that used to give you indications about, whether it's time to move to the next step. And so you need to have an awareness, and you need to use all the tools available to you to be able to, number one, understand before you're understood, and number two, to be able to move, to be able to pivot to where you want to go to, and whether you're on the phone, if it's to book an appointment, or if it's to move closer to the sale. But I will say this to you, Tom: the number one sale that you must make is to yourself. To yourself.
Yeah.
This year has created many millionaires, and it's created potential bankruptcies. It depends upon what side of the coin you're on, and how quickly you're able to adapt and adjust and move forward. But you can't move forward until you do the work on the inside. I look at your show, Tom, and it's all about gratitude. And so gratitude, the more grateful you are in life for everything that you have, good and bad, the more you receive to be grateful for. Here's the challenge, Tom. The past few years, I know I had I've gone through 3 major knee operations, and I don't know surgeries that leave you in a more humbled state than having a total knee replacement. And from insomnia to swelling to just so many emotions you go through, and to worrying about whether or not you're going to get hooked on the pain meds. It was tough. But sometimes you just have to, when you're in the face of adversity and you feel that there's nothing to be thankful for, just ask yourself, well, what could I be grateful for? What could I be grateful for? It's this year, 2020, while a lot of people died, and my heart goes out, and I know a number of people who passed away from COVID. It's reminded me of this, and that is the things that are out of my control. I can't control when life is going to go back to normal. That's out of the scope of my control. What's in my control is, can I show gratitude for everything I have? Can I be grateful, right? Can I put positivity out there in the universe with my words, my actions, with the way I treat people? Can I extend a kind word? Can I go back in my phone and just look up people I haven't spoken to in a few months, years, and just reach out to them, see how they're doing? What's in my control? And is it in my control to instead of watching Netflix, to go exercise for about 30 minutes? That's all under my control. It's in my control to read, to journal, right? To read, whether it's a half hour. It's said, and I heard this a long time ago, people spend more time planning for a vacation than they do their own lives, than their goals.
That's absolutely true. I've been in coaching and in for many years, but as a profession, the last 5 years. And unfortunately, people don't have a clear mental picture or vision in their why. You mentioned it earlier. And when you get that clear, everything becomes intentional. Life becomes easier, even in challenges. So you're hitting all my buttons, man. I tell you, that's why I like working with you. Is the thing is to become great. You got to be around proximity of greatness, like Ken Wall's group, and there's some great people in there. There's some players you sit back and you go, how can I get in that circle? Well, you just get out of your fear and you be grateful that you have the opportunity to see that they are there for you and then take action. And so positioning yourself for greatness is an attitude, and being in the proximity of greatness. And what I hear from you, Mark, and this is, coming from dealing with lots of people in my coaching career, you have done some work on yourself, reading and studying, and now you're moving yourself into proximity of greatness. And I just want to let you know that's what I see. And I
Appreciate that.
everybody that does business with you is grateful that they met you.
Tom, I'll tell you, and I appreciate the words. The work, it's a daily work. A very dear friend of mine, mentor Paul Cummings, he taught me all about the level 10 life. When you put my picture up, there was a pin on my lapel, and it was number 10, and the number 10, it represents, where do you want to play in life? What do you want to, do you want to be a level 5 player or level 10? Take if you're a parent, if you're not a business, but let's say you're a parent. In my opinion, parents get parents and teachers, they get a bad rep. The influence that they have is incredible. They're shaping young minds. And I can tell you that if you asked my father, let's say, for example, let's use my daughter Nicole. If I was standing with an earshot of someone asking my daughter, hey, Nicole, if you had to rate your dad on being a father on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate him as being your dad? And if I heard my daughter say, my dad, Mark Rodriguez, is a level 5 dad, that would break my heart. That would be worse than hitting me over the head with a 2x4. Why? Because nobody wants to be known as a level 5 dad, and they're out there, So if you wouldn't want to be a level 5 dad, why would you want to be a level 5 anything in life? Right? So you want to live your life at a volume of 10 in everything that you do. Everything that you do. Live it out like a level 10. And but that requires it's work. It's daily work. Now, I'm going to share my screen just one last time. Let me bring this up here, and I'll move myself out of the picture right there. So I know you probably can't see it, but I'm going to see if I can. Oh, I can't do that. Hold on. Let's see here.
There you go.
So the Miracle Morning is something I recently, I'm reading that book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Definitely want to give him complete credit. And if you're not familiar with The Miracle Morning, it's something to check out. It resonated with me because, again, the word savers, that's one part of The Miracle Morning. That's an acronym where the first S is basically, it says silence. Begin your day in silence. So for me, I used to wake up at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I now wake up an hour earlier, and for 10 minutes, I'll just go into meditation. And so, what am I saying? What am I saying to myself in meditation? And it depends on the day. I will tell you, if you don't have a plan, and you're not actively working your plan, like I followed a 7-day planner by Allison Lewis, where every night I'll just do a mental brain sweep of what's going on up here. I'll have a timer set for 7 minutes, and I'll just jot down everything that I've got, everything that's going on that I want to accomplish, I haven't. And then the following morning, I'll go in and I'll prioritize what are the top 5 things I could work on before 11 a.m. And so at the end of my day, I'll know I had a great day if I tackle those 5. Can't do everything on that big mental mind sweep. However, I can plan for it. So in my moments of silence, or meditation, I'm thinking about if I have an appointment that day, I'm already visualizing myself as winning the game, as being a compelling speaker, a compelling trainer, changing lives. I already have that in my mind for what's going to happen during the day. The A stands for affirmations. And so for me, my affirmations are I'm unstoppable. I'm worthy, right? I am victorious. Those are my affirmations. There's a bunch more, but those are the ones I focus for 10 minutes just on my affirmations. The V stands for visualization. Well, I have a visual, a vision board where I've got images of the things that, for example, I've got a picture of a glass of water. I know I need to hydrate a lot. Hell, we're 75% water, right? Got to get, for me, I want to get a gallon of water in a day. Not easy, but it's a top of mind activity. It's there. I focus on that. What you focus on is what you work on. I have a picture of me and my connection with God and worship. That's really important for me to connect with that part of my spirit world, my spiritual life. I have a picture of me of a home I want to live in, a beautiful home. And looking at that vision board, I'm seeing myself walking through that home and smiling, enjoying it. I also have a picture of 2 hands holding a heart. For me, I'm still single, but I know she's out there. And I put attention towards that. What I want that relationship to look like. So when you have a vision board, you put that together. I spend about 10 minutes in the morning just focusing in on that and just letting these feelings, as if I've already achieved them, just wash over me. And so I start my day believing I'm acting as if I've hit those goals. The E stands for exercise. So I'll do, if I don't have the time, hell, I can at the bare minimum, ride a bike for 10 minutes. Hey, Sandy Archer, good to see you. I'll ride my Peloton bike for 10 minutes, if I'm running late, otherwise I'll do a half hour, 45 minutes. The R stands for reading. And so, I'm reading The Miracle Morning now. I'm reading different books. And the S stands for scribe, which is another way of saying writing. So I'll write for 10 to 15 minutes. I have these timers going on. When you touch upon these items here, when you touch upon these 6 things and you make it a commitment to constant and never-ending improvement, man, if you can touch these 6 areas every single day, I mean, what impact would that have on your life? Tom, I think you were there that night in the coaching call with Glenn Morshower when he talked about the value of incrementalism. And what that means is it's how your life moves progressively forward when you put really well-placed bricks in your life. So if these are 6 areas for me to work on, if I put a brick in these 6 areas, imagine if we all did that. What type of foundation would you have for your future? Now, mind you, these 6 items are in my control, right? The government, the pandemic, sickness, nothing is going to come between me and touching upon these 6 things, which have become a priority for me. And so, as we're ending 2020, I would encourage everyone who watches this, you can't stop now. You can't look at the end of 2020 and go, man, I wish if only I had. Well, I wished I could have, I would have, I should have. When you keep saying I should have, Tony Robbins, you should have all over you. You should have all over yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Nothing is just going to happen. There are people in life who, and we all know them. We have people who watch what happened. We have people who wait for things to happen. And then we have people who make things happen. Right. And so it's my belief, it's my hallucination that if you're tackling these 6 activities every single day, and I'm not promoting how Rod, I don't get paid for that, but it just makes sense. I mean, we live in a world where every day is a continuous to-do list. And we're always living in that second quadrant that Stephen Covey calls the important and not urgent, you know? And so if everything is important, I'm sorry, if everything's important, everything's urgent, I should say, nothing gets done. But it's very rare that we make the time. We make the time to do those things that are going to have the biggest impact on our lives. So I would just encourage those as we're going into 2021, you know, what are the things that you can work on little incremental areas of progress every single day that'll just propel your life. I mean, here's the reality, Tom. A plane leaving from New York, JFK, out to, you know, Sacramento, California, if the gyroscope is off by 1 degree, you're going to end up in a totally different place, right? So what is success? Success is, and I heard this from Jim Rohn, it's practicing simple disciplines. Simple. Meditate 10 minutes. Say your affirmations 10 minutes. Look at the vision of who your better self should be and will be. 10 minutes. Exercise more than 10 minutes if you need to, but read 10 minutes. Get that wisdom going. And write. Get your feelings out. Right. So again, those are areas that for 2021, 10 minutes a day, my gosh. I mean, something else I do, Tom, is I'll start the day with 5 coins in my right pocket. And I ask myself at the end of the day, did I do my part? And part is an acronym for, did I praise someone? Did I acknowledge someone? Did I reward someone? Did I thank someone? So either all or one of those 4. My goal is to move those coins from the right-hand pocket to my left. And those coins, they look like this. I have five of these gold coins. They're not gold, but these are 5 coins. They got my branding on it. But these 5 coins, I move from the right. And I heard this at a New Jersey chapter of National Speaker Association, and it just resonated with me. Hey, you know what? That's in my control. Right? Could I praise someone while I'm pulling the Dunkin' Donuts? You know, could I pay for someone's coffee behind me? What impact would that have on their life? Just for that moment. You never know whose life you could impact. I could reward someone. I could acknowledge them. Far too often, people are acknowledged for what they do wrong and not what they do right, especially in the automotive industry. How about thank you? You know, it's all good stuff, man. It's how proactive do you want to be? You know, do you want to spend the rest of your life sitting in the passenger seat, or do you want to slip over to the driver's seat? Now, here's the thing, Tom. It's not enough to put your hands on the wheel of the steering wheel of your life, because if your gas pedal has a governor that's basically saying, "Oh no," you're going to be living to your feelings, which means that you won't allow yourself to push beyond a certain level. I know many of us, come January 1st, we're going to make that resolution. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to join the gym. When we live to I got this from Ben Newman. When we live to our feelings, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning rolls around. You know, we hit the snooze button. But when you live to a standard, you know, maybe you're sleeping with your gym pants on, or you've got your sneakers and stuff right at the foot of your bed, or your alarm is across the room, forcing you to get up. You know, to get going on your goals. Because if you wait for your ducks to go in a row, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Yep.
You are hitting home runs, man. I tell you, you are. I'm just sitting here, and I am. You know, I hope the audience is getting what I'm getting out of it. I'm a personal development coach. This is resonating and motivating me, and all the things that I teach and I do. And I just want to make a couple comments that you made about your saver. You
Yes.
know, those are great acronyms, great points to focus in on. Success leaves clues.
Yes.
And what you're sharing is, if you look at any successful people, if people are excelling at the highest levels in their life or in their careers, their business or whatever, you hit on all those elements that they do. You mentioned silence. You get up in the morning, be still and know. It gives you an opportunity to reflect what the day is going to be with a sense of gratitude. And you move yourself out of anxiety, and you're very clear of the intentionality of the things you want. What was the save? Affirmation.
Savers. The A is for affirmations.
Yeah, the savers. So, but I went to silence. You mentioned something about you take quiet time, be still and know. Things come to you. The answers come to you in that space. Great achievers start their day in, some people call it meditation, prayer, just quietness, let the universe, whatever we want to call that, settle within us so we can move forward. And that comes with there. Then you said your affirmations, the I am, you own it before you claim. I am worthy of, I am magnificent, I am great, I am more loving, I am. It's your nature, as Glenn Morshower puts it, the I am statement. What was the next one you did?
Visual. V is visualization, your vision board.
Yeah, and let me share with you, a lot of people, when I started being coached years ago, I was being coached by a very significant person in the financial service industry, and we did the Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and every management meeting we were doing our writing and writing and writing, and we were all young, and we said, I can do this myself. I don't need this, Rich, blah, blah, blah. Guess what happened? I became the number one salesperson out of 10,000 people.
Really?
And guess what? When he left, that writing, that discipline that you mentioned, writing, I became average and ordinary again versus greatness. So you mentioned something in there about the affirmation. Then what was the next thing?
So it was affirmations.
Visualization.
Those are written in the present tense. In other words, regardless of what, if you want to become more of a responsible person, right? I am responsible.
Yeah.
Right. Because the one thing Jack Canfield talks about in the success principles, the first principle is you are responsible. You must take 100% accountability for everything that happens in your life. Now, there are some people who would say, well, Mark, I wasn't responsible for the pandemic. I lost my job. That wasn't my fault. That wasn't my doing, man. Don't tell me it's my responsibility. Well, here's what happens. While the pandemic is not your responsibility, how you respond to it is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Most people react in life versus respond.
And so I would say, Tom, if you go, there's a when you talk about emotional intelligence and you talk about thinking above, people who think above the line, when adversity hits, they get curious. People who think below the line, they start to cast blame on others, and so what side of the line do you want to be on? Just get curious. Well, okay, the pandemic is hit. Well, what does that mean for me? Just ask what does this mean? Like what's in my control? I can tell you, for me, when the moment I was doing karaoke and I saw up on the big TV at the South of France, it said the NBA is suspending the rest of the season. I said, whoa, you know what? This is not going away, not anytime soon. And the implication it's going to have on my business, so I better learn this new medium, called, virtual training and going virtual. I better make an investment in me, not for me, but how could I improve myself so that I can serve others?
Absolutely.
When I talked about the car business, I said the number one reason why people get in the car business is to make money. And the number one reason why they leave is because they're not making enough money, right? When I train salespeople and call center representatives, I talk about connection, engaging, and caring. Really, really, really important. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about you. The money will always follow service. Always. Always. I like to say that I coach, I'm a performance coach in the automotive sector. I train and coach people how to deliver world-class service over the phone. And I say that because we are judged by not only what we say, but how we say it. How we say it. So if someone calls in, and if someone calls into a dealership and we're not in tune, we're not listening for the listening of the listener, we miss the message. We miss the point. We will lose the call. We'll miss the opportunity. And so, you know, I would just say, service, being of service to others, that's for me, that's everything. How could I be a better father to my girl? How can I serve them? You know, did I provide level 10 service today? How can I serve you? How can I help you? Because if I invest the time to lift you up, guess what? I'm already lifted up. I'm already lifted up. And so in answer to your question, that V in SAVOR stands for visualization. I know that you're a student and you're certified with Bob Proctor. I know he trains visualization big time, and the value of creating a vision board. Am I off the mark here or what?
You have hit it. Two things about what people don't really understand of accomplishing it. We think about goals and SMART goals. They're just processes. It's the vision, having a clear mental picture of the outcome before you obtain it, and have the mindset you own it today. And science has already shown this. Harvard did a study. Those that have clear written goals, like a manuscript, only 3% of the people may control 97% of the wealth. So it leads to success. That's already a proven point. Question is, why don't we do that? Okay, that's another conversation. The other thing that they found out, you said visionary, writing it down. When you read a novel, you see yourself in the scene. That's how clear your goal and vision in life should be, just like a novel.
Absolutely.
That. Then the other thing they found out, a lot of people, I remember the first time I was ever exposed to a vision board, the concept. That's hokey pokey, blah, 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 right? I mean, we could probably, anybody out here listening, many of us have come from the, come on. Sure enough, that's what UCLA did. They did a study. Those that have clear vision boards obtain what's on the board.
Absolutely.
The same way the writing did. So don't discount. Take what gives you the clear mental picture of the outcome you seek before you, and own it. No room for not obtaining it. Believe you're worthy of it. I am, and you fill in the blank. And you apply those principles on a day-to-day basis, like you were sharing. My wife's cousin, I'll just share this. So we're just bantering back and forth here. I think is my wife's cousin is a former national Taekwondo champion. He's a personal development coach, public speaker, and all that. So I had him on here a while back, and you mentioned that concept. To get better, it's incremental, small little things. And this is what he said. He says, you improve yourself 1% every day. At the end of a year, you're 37%, 37 times better, 37 times. But if you do it for 2 years, it's not 74. It's 13,000 and something. When we improve incrementally, it's not addition. It's exponential.
Tom, are you able to? Now, I tried to share my screen. I don't know if I hit share, and I have the screen picked out. You see it sitting in the bay there?
There it
You
is.
go. So that's my first vision board, and I did that as a result of doing the Miracle Morning. But I talk to that thing. I talk to that thing for 10 minutes every morning. And I've got on there my healthy foods, my affirmations. I got the water up there. I got the picture of a heart, two people holding a heart. That represents a relationship that I want to be in. But all these things, they represent the components of the life that I deserve. But you have to feel worthy of that. You have to, because if you don't feel worthy, man, I've been so blessed, Tom. I've been so blessed in that I I never, ever, ever want to give the impression that I've arrived. I'm always, always learning. I'm growing and I'm learning, right? How can I learn from this so that I can grow? Even from the pandemic, how can I learn from COVID so that I can be of service to others and grow as a person, as a father, as a trainer, as a coach, as a leader? But these, if you ask the higher quality question in your life, you'll move closer. You'll move closer to the real answers. Now, when you mentioned the process with Bill Proctor of creating the I am statements and the visualizations, I mean, how many minutes a day would you say that would take someone, Tom, to go through that process? If you already have the vision board created, how many minutes does it take for you? Does it take the average person just to kind of meditate on it, look at it, think about it, put yourself, picture yourself as the guy working out, picture yourself as the person speaking to thousands of people, if that's what you want? How long does that take?
It isn't, how long does it take? I can say what it takes for me.
How long does it take for you?
I spend about maybe 15 minutes a day
Okay.
reaffirming my affirmations, doing those things, taking my quiet time. I got a routine that I do. And in 15 minutes, I'm grounded for the rest of the day.
And so 15 minutes represents, half of a Netflix show. It's a half hour. It reflects such an insignificant amount of time as a fraction of the amount of time most people spend on streaming services or scrolling through Facebook.
Less time than making a pot of coffee.
There you go. But you've got to be intentional.
Yeah.
If you go through life casually, right? It's said that you will become a casualty. One of the lessons I've learned, from my dad, from my dad passing, I didn't create it. I don't know who did. I'd love to give them credit. One of the things I learned from my dad's passing is, when I go to visit him at the cemetery and I talk to him, I look out over, the other headstones out there, and I think to myself, it's true. This really is the most expensive real estate on earth, because buried in there are all the opportunities that were not taken. Listen, we're here for a finite amount of time. You look at a gravestone, and you've got the date of birth and the date the person died. Then you've got the dash, and there's so much to that dash, right? A lot of people go through their life, and the dash simply signifies the amount of years that they walked the face of the earth, or the number of years they spent in front of a TV watching Netflix, or anything that wasn't really adding value to their lives. But for some of us, the dash represents moments that we can create to serve and just to put a slight dent in this universe.
Yeah.
And there are some special people who've done that. And so when I look at that, Tom, and I say, man, I'm 54. I'm 54 years old, but yet I've got a lot more living to do, and I want the rest of my life to be the best of my life. One thing I learned from Paul Cummings is that it's never, ever, ever, ever too late to become the person that you were always meant to be. Never to. In fact, there are so many success stories from Colonel Sanders, who I think he was in his 60s
He was
when
65, almost
right.
ate the
It's
bullet.
and he's proved that it's never too late to take those incremental steps. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you, you're going to say, well, you're going to wake up in the morning, close your eyes, and I'm going to lose 80 pounds. I'm going to lose 80 pounds. I'm going to lose 80 pounds. And don't put the work behind it. You've got to put the work behind it. But what those affirmations do for you is that, and I don't want to get too deep here, but most people don't realize that the subconscious is a very real part. The subconscious is what dictates your actions. The subconscious is what has you giving up before you even take that first step.
Exactly. Mark, that's 95, 98% of our habitual behavior and our actions and our beliefs is at the subconscious level. And we can always look at our results in life and taking ownership. Now, you mentioned that, taking responsibility. We can take, and this is what I coach in, and this is where coaching is so important. And you've done some self-study, and you're following. See, that's the key. You're studying greatness. As you study greatness, you become great. I mean, you cannot not become great when you study greatness. You study failure, you're going to become failure. I'm plain and simple. And most people operating in not studying greatness, they study something less than. Okay. So
Tom, I tell you hit the nail on the head. Happiness, it's a choice. It's a choice. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to just dwell in the negativity. When Arlene,
when you get done there, I want to say something about happiness. Okay, go ahead, finish your thing, and
I was just going to say that you talk about the power of writing. Now, I only write in this journal 10 minutes a day, but for the first time in my life, I'm having conversations with my father I've never had. He was always working. This has allowed me to connect with my dad on a level that I couldn't when we were alive. I was busy being a father. I was busy being a student. I was busy, and he was always working. He was working 2-3 jobs. But writing has allowed me to bring my father on this new journey for the rest of my life. He lives in my heart. He lives in my thoughts. And I'm able to begin each entry, good morning, Dad. Hey, Dad, here's what happened today. And I can't begin to tell you how healing that is. A lot of people, and I was there for my father. I was there in his last, I saw him take his last breath. And you don't know, you will never know what life, how fragile life is. Within seconds, the nurses came into the hospital room and said, "Really sorry, Mr. Rodriguez, but we're going to have to straighten your dad's legs out because, rigor mortis will set in rather quickly." Within seconds, the color of his skin, it just changed. He became like it was like a grayish tint to his skin. Life is so precious. We all have the same 24 hours, but we all have the choice. We all have a choice on how we're going to invest, not spend, but invest our time, because you'll never get that time back. But here's the beauty. Here's the beautiful thing about it. Because we have a brain, and because we're human, right? We're that species. We're the only species that can think, right? And the challenge we have is, what thoughts are we creating? What thoughts are we creating? You look at Apple, you look at these really successful companies. It all began with an idea. Steve Jobs said, You know, we got people on the phone, we got people surfing the web, we got people, you know, what was it, the email, they're checking email, you know, and text, and just he just, it was just the thought, you know, how could I improve? Now it became a multi-billion dollar company, but it began with a thought, you know. Well, if you're a parent, how can I be a better father to my kids? How can I be a better husband to my wife? How, you know, we're all busy, 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 busy. You know, we all have cell phones. What does it take to shoot a text to your wife? Hey, honey, I'm so proud to be your husband. Or, hey, honey, I'm so thankful that you're in my life. You know, I don't want to go, I don't want this to turn into a sexist thing, because it's not. But in the Bible, sexist in the Bible, right? In Ephesians, I think it is, there's a verse that says, you know, husband, you know, you're to love your wife, and wife to respect your husband. But that duality there, you know, if my wife is this, and I don't say disrespectful in the terms of she's got to listen to me. That's not what I mean by being disrespectful. What I mean is, if I was in the Grow Live Academy on that Zoom call, and let's say and I'm not married, but if my wife was on there as a panelist, and she said, you know, from her little box, she said, you know, Mark, why can't you be like Tom Ginn? He's so successful, and he's in front of all my friends. That would be more hurtful than her slapping me with both sides of her hand, right? And then what typically happens is, let's say that did happen. And now we get off the Zoom call, and I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, and she's like, what's wrong? And if I don't address it, and I just say, there's nothing wrong, and I make a face, and I turn and walk away, you know, that's the beginning of the crazy cycle. You know, men and women are different. They're different. They are. But I guess the point I'm making this is, if, for example, it's all about taking ownership. Just own it. Own it. There are people in all of your lives out there that you need to apologize to. And it's not just for them, it's for you. You know, I was on a call with I watched a Zoom with Joe Ingram, who I respect that guy more than anything. That guy, he's an amazing guy. And I sat through a process of, you know, just letting go of the negative. There are people in your life that if I ask you to write down 4 people who, when the phone rings, you're like, oh my God, I'm not taking that call. Voicemail, you know, because they trigger you. There are people who trigger us, right? And so he walked me through a process of being able to be at peace with that, to let that go. And very quickly, he said, picture yourself in the theater, and picture the stage is black. You're in the front row of the audience. The spotlight hits that person that triggers you. And you look at that person, you say, are you supporting me? Do you like me, or do you not support me? Right? Do you hate me? Do you love me? And regardless of the answer, you say, thank you. I love you, and I release you. And in your mind, you picture them blowing up, just like expanding, like Willy Wonka, like an Oompa Loompa, and you picture them floating away, and you picture energy, a beam of energy going from your head to theirs, and you picture getting taught as they're floating up, and you just cut that energy, and you remove the plug that was connected to your head, and you just drop it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That I did that for a number of people in my life, and but again, it's that's in my control. Here we are, December 2020. One of the toughest years for a lot of people. Okay, 2000. It's going to be over in a few days. What are you going to do that's going to create? See, if you wait till January 1st to do something about 2021, it's almost too late. You're going to start building up the momentum to take you into 2021.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to spend the first 2 weeks. Tom, listen, I didn't mean to go on and on.
Mark.
Yeah.
You are incredible. You're doing a great job. But I just want to make a couple of comments. What you just said there, you mentioned something in Scripture, and I believe law is law. The universe works with the law. The Bible is law.
Yeah.
Forgiveness that cuts that stream. It's not about asking. It releases that attachment, that an emotional attachment is, just by forgiving.
Absolutely.
I hear these stories all the time. Somebody killed their loved one, and then they go to the court hearing and they forgive them.
Yes.
I can't. I understand it, but I have to ask myself, could I forgive at that level? And I think that's something important. I think just being able to release pain, no matter how it's inflicted, and ask for forgiveness and forgive ourselves as well. Right?
Tom, it's work. It's work.
I'm going to go back to your vision board, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is something I have learned. We hear people all the time, I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Happy is something you control just by changing a thought.
Absolutely.
It's an instantaneous, you're in control of happiness. You can be angry one moment, you could be happy in the next because of circumstance or an event that's around you. What people are really seeking is not happiness, is joy.
There you go.
And I like to use this example of how we distinguish joy. I've had 70 birthdays, happy birthdays, but I can only remember a few birthdays that gave me joy. And that was something that resonated at an emotional level that meant more than the event that it was there. For example, a great aunt came out of her way at one of my birthdays. I loved her to death, and one of the special, she showed up. I wasn't happy. I was joyful. That memory of my birthday, that is a joyful event. Having children, you're not happy to have children. You're joyful to have. So what I help people do is understand happiness is something that you can control in circumstances instantaneously by change of thought. What we are seeking in life is the joy of life.
The key there, though, is the word seeking is a verb. That's an action word, right? And so we can when you look at the cycle of success, and it all begins with a belief and a thought that, whether you're looking to embark on something, you're looking to, let's say, a goal. Let's keep it relevant. 2021 is here. Millions of people across the world will be looking to create goals now, right? They'll be looking to improve their lives 2021. It begins with a belief. And then it depending upon how much of your potential that you tap into, your potential to do more and be more, you'll then decide how much action you're going to take. And depending upon your level of action, if you take real strong, good actions, the things we mentioned earlier, moving that alarm clock across the room and, prepping your food the night before, the week before, you take those actions, there's a good chance you're going to get good results. Here's the thing with results. If the results are good, they'll reinforce your belief that you can do this. But if you're not getting the results that you want, that's where, if you're living to your feelings, your belief will be, oh no, here we go. It's another diet that doesn't work. And the moment that happens, you trigger. Dan says, I'm glad your mic worked. Thanks, man.
We've had some of our Grow Live Academy. JR has been on. I've just acknowledged
Sandy,
Lynn. Thanks, guys, for jumping on here today. Means a lot to us.
Listen, Tom, I was just going to say that, when the opposite's true, though. In other words, when the results aren't good, it reinforces that negative belief. Real quick, it's all about action. There's a quick story about a country salesman who it's like 95 degrees out. He's sweating. It's hot out there. All he wants is something to drink. He wants some cold lemonade. And he pulls up to this little country store and he parks his car, gets out the car, shuts the door, goes up these steps, and he notices on the side there's a big dog it's just crying. It's just yelping. It's not my story. I don't know who created it, but I share it. This dog is yelping and crying. He doesn't understand why. It strikes him as odd. Why is this big dog crying? He walks in the shop, grabs a country town lemonade. It's nice and cold. He walks to the counter and he asks the clerk. He says, "What's the deal with the big dog out there crying and yelping?" The clerk says, "I don't mind him. He's always crying." So the salesman says, "Well, why is he crying?" He goes, "Oh, him? He's sitting on a nail." And he says, "Well, why doesn't he get up?" He said, "Because it doesn't hurt enough yet." You see, through the conditioning of life, we get stuck. And that's what you do, Tom. You help people get unstuck. Getting stuck means a callus forms, right? And unless we get to that point where, if it's weight loss, you step out the shower and go, oof, or you're going to buy a new suit, new clothing, and they're not sweatpants. There's no elastic. Man, you feel like crap. You feel like, oh my God, nothing fits. It's then in that moment of despair where you're like, oof, not that I'd like to, I must change. No more. That's it. I've had it. The problem is some people wait too long. They wait too long. And when you don't take responsibility and measure, because if you don't inspect what you expect, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. It'll take something really drastic for you to take that first step, to move. We are over an hour. Listen, I could stay talking, brother. I'm going to follow your lead. You got to shut me up because I become like the road runner on crack.
What, Mark? Here's the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I could do the same thing. We can, we're on the same page. I think that's one of the things, when you walk into a room or meet somebody for the first time, there's something there, right? As far as how you're going to connect and that type of thing. You have the energy, the attitude of greatness. And I don't say that lightly, because what you say are the principles of greatness. And greatness is just being your best version of yourself at all times. That's what greatness is. You don't compare it to something else. Is that you're in that space of greatness, being grateful for that, and you have a beautiful attitude. And and I can see how you are going to impact those that you coach, train, and develop with that, and continue growing. It's an honor to be a friend. I've only known you just a couple months now, and every time we talk, we dig a little deeper into each other's soul here a little bit. And
hey, listen, I'll tell you, Tom, I love being a part of the Grow Alive Academy and that community of people. Every single person there that I've spoken to, both in the group and offline, just some amazing, like-minded people. I'm pretty sure Ken Walls had no idea when he put this course together that it would have the impact that it has. And here's the thing. He didn't have to do coaching sessions every week. That wasn't a part of the original plan. No. So I'm very grateful to Ken for just exposing us to, just absolute great. I want to call Glenn Guru, like Glenn Morshower, a guru. I mean, this guy, every time he speaks, I walk away learning something new about myself, about my world, about people. And I'm just so grateful just to be in that group. I try not to miss one Thursday session because I don't want to miss the gold that's dispensed. Yeah.
So, Mark, it's time flew. Like I said, we can probably be on here for
10.
Sort of like our Thursday night. Sometimes we got 2.5, 3 hours in, and we go, what happened to the 2.5 to 3 hours? So, anything I'd like to part here. If anybody would like to get a hold of you let me get here. I'm going to put up your
Cell number 973-986-1055.
I'm going to put your email up here, Mark. Is
Email
that
is
okay?
autoclientcare.com. Perfect.
Yep.
And
There you go.
I'll end it with, the way, with what we learned from Glenn Morshower last night. And that was, you think about your life and you think about your intent. What's your intention in life? Are you a value creator for others in your life? Because if you're creating value for other people in your life, guess what? It's very difficult for you not to live a life of fulfillment.
Exactly.
We all get what we have to have. We all get what we need. We don't necessarily get what we want. And so wanting to create value for others in your life, that's intentional.
Yeah.
And when you make that a priority in your life, man, that talk about a really well-placed brick in the foundation of your life and your world, man, you're having an impact that's just, you become, as Glenn Morshower said, the first thought. The first thought.
Yep.
Hey, who do we need to? Oh, it's got to be Tom Ginn. You become top of mind.
Yeah.
Tom, I want to thank you so much for bringing me on today, brother. I'm so
this
grateful.
is fun. We'll be on again. I know we'll be collaborating with some of our players in the Grow Live. Help us support each other. Help us move our growth forward in a positive way. Supporting each other in our endeavors and our businesses. So I'm going to put you in the green room. Enjoy the M&Ms, my friend. Okay.
Okay.
I always close with that with some people. I always think of the green room. They got the M&Ms and the cookies and all this stuff, whatever they want, right? So
I'm not a diva, so we don't have to have the special pillows. The M&Ms are fine, man. We're good.
Okay, bud. I'm just going to put you in the back room. We'll wrap it up and close with my closing thoughts. Stick on, okay?
Yep.
Wow. That was a blast, but insightful. It was deep. There's a person that it's living greatness. He's putting himself in proximity of greatness, growing and sharing and helping other people's improve their lives. Seek joy. Serve others. Be grateful for all you do. So with that all said, I'm going to sign out. Have a great weekend. Have a Merry Christmas, a blessed holiday, and we'll be touching base tomorrow again on my Saturday recap. Have a great day, and it's with gratitude.